emergency broadcast if you can hear me.
We are not who we were when we started.
Imperial ships are already landing.
We need to speak out. We need to stand up.
Is there no one who can help us?
We need a pilot. A soldier.
The second season of Andor has finally arrived, and as you can probably tell, it's now or never for this rogue and his allies. As this is not only the second, but also the final season of the acclaimed series, we move towards the character of Cassian Andor we met in Rogue One, a Star Wars story. For Diego Luna, who plays the main character, it was quite a journey portraying a character that went from a self-serving survivor to a committed revolutionary.
It's nice to build a story backwards, because knowing where he has to get, it's a beautiful and creative process to find out what are those tools he needs to have. It's the work we as actors do. When you have to feel the backstory of what you're doing. But here, that backstory is filled by the best possible writer, in the business.
The best possible writer that Diego refers to is Tony Gilroy, who perfectly knew how to make the most grounded Star Wars series to date and make the Empire feel genuinely terrifying, even in mundane settings like a corporate boardroom or a field of wheat. Where did he find his inspiration?
I've been reading history my whole life. The last 6,000 years of human history are, there's no shortage of cruelty and greed and the search for power and the destruction of communities. It's in my head. I think the thing that makes it valuable is to not look at it monochromatically and realize that everyone in there is not just supporting the Empire or being a zealot. They're worrying about their parking places, they're worrying about their job, they're worrying about who's going to get the bigger assignment, they're worried about if they're going to get fired, they're worried about if they're in danger. The human behavior within institutions and the human behavior within an organization is something that's fascinated me. I keep working on it over and over again. So I think when you add those two things, the power of it and the weakness of it simultaneously, it gets very interesting.
It's a different kind of mission.
If it goes up in flames,
It will burn very brightly.
But if I'm giving up everything, I want to win. We have to.
Star Wars is one of those rare cultural phenomenon that has touched millions of lives all over the world, and we wondered when the makers of Andor first came into contact with the Force.
for me, it's the Darth Vader at night. That feeling of.
Oh, that's true.
That was like, nightmares. But it was my favorite character. I had everything. I had like the toy, everything. I was fascinated by the dark side, I guess.
Because I was fascinated by the fact that you could sort of fly. It felt so freeing, the fact that you weren't sort of stuck to the ground at all time, and you can sort of just pick up and go, especially growing up in a city like Mexico City. As a child, I was like, God, I just wish I could just and just go. I guess that idea sort of really fascinated me. And I think aesthetically, Princess Leia's, I remember seeing that hairstyle and I was like, cool. And I didn't stop wearing it, I think, for a whole summer. I just had my two buns.
Andor is a story about rebellion and sacrifice, and if you've become curious, then make sure to check it out.
Remember this moment. You're here, you're right here, and you're ready to fight.